We are wrestling.
We are wrestling.
Don, D-O-N?
Dick, got it.
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
We are wrestling.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host, the best one, Donnie, here with...
What is going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. Donnie's solo co-host for the We Are Wrestling Talk Show. Ben decided to take a little bit of a hiatus, dealing with some personal stuff. Hopefully he comes back relatively soon. Donnie, man, what have we got in store today?
This week on the talk show, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite championships of all time in the Attitude Era, the Hardcore Championship.
Bro, I will say, I'm a huge fan of the Attitude Era, but one of my favorite segments on the entire show was always the Hardcore Championship. You would see people getting beat up at McDonald's. You'd see people getting beat up in the backstage area, parking lots, the boiler room. It was just so interesting to watch, and it gave you a new perspective on it. It made you feel like you were in, there, if that makes sense. You got to see, the backstage area and stuff like that, and, everything that was going on. The Hardcore title was just always awesome to me. I really enjoyed it.
Such a special championship. But, of course, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO, and of course you already know, the grind is real. So,
Absolutely, man.
Danny, are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm as ready as we're gonna be, man. Let's hope nobody hits us with steel chairs.
I said, are you ready? Are you ready?
Let's do it!
Let's do it! So, I say let's get into what started hardcore wrestling. What got it to, where, it started with ECW.
Yeah, it definitely started with ECW, and then it sort of, made that transition. I feel like Vince, because regardless of what people want to say, Vince knows, he's in the know, at least he used to be back in the day. He used to secretly watch WCW, ECW, just to see what the competition was up to. And I feel like he took that and sort of put it on the mainstream, if that makes sense.
And that's exactly, I think, what happened, because ECW, all the maniacs know, ECW is what started Extreme Wrestling, where we would get unique matches like the TLCs, the ladder matches. WWE would even do, cage matches and even a Hell in the Cell. And later on, Elimination Chamber. So ECW really set the bar for extreme wrestling.
And Vince even brought over, guys like the Dudley Boys and Raven and, Bull Buchanan and Justin Incredible.
Rob Van Dam.
Rob Van Dam, Mr. Monday Night, the whole effing show. All these guys that have previously worked for Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW. And so, he was definitely, ECW was definitely an influence for what Vince McMahon did with the hardcore division going forward in the Attitude Era.
And I think the one guy that starts this whole conversation with bringing the hardcore wrestling into the Attitude Era is no other than the first ever hardcore champion, Mick friggin' Foley.
Well deserved, man. There's been guys like Sabu. There's been guys, that have sort of developed over time when it comes to extreme hardcore wrestling. But when it comes to mainstream, I don't think anybody was as hardcore as Mick Foley, man. The three faces of Foley, we got Dude Love, we had Mankind, we had Cactus Jack, who, I remember when Cactus Jack first jumped on the scene, man. It was Triple H was in the ring cutting a promo.
Oh my
You see
God,
the
when they
three
did
faces-
the promo with the three faces of Foley all at once, and then that's when
Bro.
Cactus Jack made his debut in WWF.
And then Triple H started going crazy, and I think he got thrown in the dumpster that night. And like, bro, like hardcore wrestling back then, man, it was like a whole nother breed. You know what I mean?
No, I seriously think the Attitude Era, lots of people, talk about The Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Chris
Mhm.
Jericho. But I think a lot of people forget about the mid-card wrestlers they had at the time, the jobbers, and even the hardcore division in this championship. Because for me, as a kid growing up, I grew up with the Attitude Era just like you. And for me, the hardcore championship really stood out because it was different. Everything on Monday Night Raw and, SmackDown and WWF around the time was different,
Yep,
which is what made
absolutely.
the product enjoyable to watch.
I think one of the most profound hardcore champions, though. I mean, you have to put Crash Holly in the mix in there because he was just a mainstay when it comes to the hardcore
He
division,
died
man.
way too young.
Yeah,
Seriously.
I
That's
mean,
one
but
guy I would love to have his signature on that championship.
bro, I still remember that big ass battle royal or that big ass like hardcore championship brawl or whatever at WrestleMania 2000, man. Remember
WrestleMania
that?
16? Yes, I freaking do. And that's when Hardcore Holly actually won the championship from Crash.
Bro, that like I mean, just it was just moments like that, man. I remember when the Big Show won the hardcore title at one point. Remember?
I do. That was what,
It
2001 No Way Out?
it was like a fucking like yeah, I think he won it from Raven.
That's the thing about this hardcore championship. So many iconic moments, so many matches, and we're going to be talking about it all here on the We Are Wrestling Talk Show this week because we're dedicating this episode to this prestigious, ugly looking fucking title.
Bro, that was the ugliest looking title imaginable back in the
But you
day,
know what
but
was cool about the championship?
what's up?
It was pretty much like the broken winged eagle WWF champion. And I really
Yeah, man.
like that because it was a really cool addition to the division. I think the way they brought the championship is definitely what made it important because I think if you debut a championship and it has no meaning behind it, the championship's not going to have any meaning whatsoever. But with WWE around this time, they had Vince McMahon, give this championship. It was as a joke, a gift to
Yeah.
Mick Foley. And just, it became so iconic because of that moment. It was
But the
supposed to be a
thing
joke. And
but
it's, one of the best segments of the week.
But the thing is, back in those days, man, like we're talking, 98, between 98 and like 2001, 2002, like around that time, dude, every single title had some kind of significant meaning. It's like no title that they had back in the day was like a throwaway belt that you just put on somebody for the sake of somebody having a title. You know what I mean? There was
Well,
a significant meaning behind it.
not every title. I would say 95% of the titles because the one championship that did not really have as much meaning, in my opinion, and maybe you'll disagree, the light heavyweight title.
Bro, that like I have to totally disagree with you on that, man. Like that, I mean, some of the best matches on Sunday Night Heat and SmackDown and Velocity and all these different shows or whatever that were back in the day. Like some of the best matches were for the light heavyweight title.
Here's
I mean,
why
we had
here,
Dean Malenko, man. Are
here's
you kidding
why
me?
yeah, but here's why I say the light heavyweight for me was is because WCW, they had the cruiserweight division, and that was like the
Yeah.
one thing that made WCW
But
actually good.
But WWE had the Hardys, S.A. Rios, all the Takamichi
S.A. Rio
Noku,
was good.
Funaki, all these guys or whatever. Even if you don't want to think so, the light heavyweight division was pretty stacked back in the Attitude Era.
Yeah. But it's like WCW. They had a hardcore
Yeah.
championship, and for me,
I will agree with you.
it does.
I will
But
agree.
But for me, like for my example now with the Hardcore Championship in WCW, it was dog shit.
Yeah.
The light
I
heavyweight,
will.
I'm not saying the light heavyweight championship was dog shit. It was a good championship, but compared to the European championship, the
Yeah.
Intercontinental, the Hardcore championship, even the WWF championship at the time, the tag team champions,
Yeah,
it does not compare to those.
I'm not saying to compare all the titles or whatever, but I'm saying it did have a significant meaning. Like when you won the light heavyweight championship, like you won it because you're the best in your class. You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean? It
that's something
wasn't
that's
just like
missing in today's wrestling.
it
I
wasn't
agree.
just a throwaway title. You know what I mean? That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Definitely,
I'll tell you a
definitely
throwaway title,
agree.
24/7 title.
I don't know why they don't just bring back the hardcore title. It's the same fucking concept, just less backstage brawls. Like literally, dude, that's what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And if you disagree, you're a fucking liar. Like, I mean, look at
Mick Foley was the one to reveal it.
bro. Did you hear
I
what
think
Mick
that
Foley had to
explains
say
it
on
all.
social media? Did you hear what Mick Foley had to say about it?
What did he have to say about it?
He recommends WWE getting rid of the 24/7 title and bringing back the hardcore title and acting like Mick Foley brought the wrong belt to the venue and just
That would make sense.
reintroducing the hardcore title. He
That
said
would
he'd be
really
down to
make
do it,
sense.
but he said he would be down to do it. He said in an interview probably like a year ago.
That would be pretty awesome. But here's like what I got to say about the Hardcore Championship. Some of the matches that this championship has had, because obviously
Yep.
we're going to get into the 24/7 thing because that was like probably the best thing about this Hardcore Championship at one
Yep.
point. But let's get into the matches because there was a lot of iconic matches with this title. What's one that
Bro,
stands out to you? I'll tell you mine.
probably No Way Out 2001. It was Raven versus Big Show. Because like Raven, like that dude's a tough motherfucker, man. Like he took a whipping, but he also was like got back up, started hitting fucking Big Show in the head with trash can lids. Like I don't know, there was just something like significant about that match that I always remember.
Speaking of 2001 with the Royal Rumble, that was one of my favorite Rumbles because of the hardcore division. How they had Raven come out with, the carriage with weapons and like it just made the match different and a lot of fun.
I will say Raven is one of the most like back in the day. Like I don't feel like WWE utilized him to his full potential. He could have been so
Agree.
much bigger. He could have been so much bigger than he was. He had so much talent, so much charisma. Like I just don't think they utilize him to his full potential, and it's sad.
It sucks because I feel like the only company out there that really used him like to his full potential was ECW.
ECW.
WCW, he did some stuff that was pretty unique over there, and TNA obviously, but
Yeah.
never main event where like he was at ECW.
Yeah. I will say I'm happy that he definitely fit in the hardcore division, but I could have seen him being European champion at some point. I could have saw him being light heavyweight champion at some point. Like I feel like they saw him only as a hardcore competitor, and I feel like that damaged him a little bit.
Yeah, because you can only do the same thing for so long, and like that's what happened in 2001. Raven was, competing for the title the whole time, but he made that championship pretty entertaining because we all,
Oh
know
yeah.
that Crash Holly was very entertaining, but at the time, he was carrying the hardcore division from 99 to 2000. So in 2001, they kind of needed something different, and that's where Raven, came in.
Remember when Crash Holly was the hardcore champion and the APA they used to have that little stage set up in the backstage area
The
with the fucking
protection.
door and if you walk past the door they told you had to fucking knock on the door to enter our office and fucking Crash Holly was playing poker and drinking beer with them one night. I was just fucking. There's something about that. It was just hilarious. Like all those backstage segments, man, they were so fucking.
Oh, we're going to
entertaining.
get into that. For me, when it comes to matches, there's two of them that really stand out to me. One of them has got to be, I believe it was at Invasion 2001, Jeff Hardy versus Rob Van Dam for the
Yeah,
championship.
Yeah, I was
That
gonna
was
gonna
good.
mention that. But
And then
I haven't watched that match back in a
here's my
while.
favorite one right now. This is my favorite match with the hardcore title. It's gotta be, I think that this was at Over the Edge or In Your House. Al Snow versus Hardcore Holly, and then they went into like the river.
Bro, I remember that.
Such a good match.
I love that, dude, when they would like take the show like outside or whatever, and you would see all these people like either going out to eat or walking around with their friends or whatever. You see these two dudes beating the hell out of each other. If you're not a wrestling fan, you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then you're seeing it, and it's just like it makes you all part of the show. I don't know.
And
There was
and that's like the thing that made it so good. And like usually like it's a long time. These pay-per-views and shows are a long time, 2 to 3 hours. Even now,
yeah.
AEW be putting on 5 to 6 hour pay-per-views.
Hey, I will say Forbidden Door, it was a banger of a fucking show, and they went less than 4 hours. It was 3 hours and 45 minutes the entire show. It was fucking great.
But that's like what I want to say here. With the Hardcore Championship, it didn't make it so didn't feel like it was forced to be like watching, because you would have your great matches, but then they would throw the hardcore match in there in between so that the fans, would be more relaxed and more like fun.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, Big Boss Man and Al Snow, man, they had some bangers of a match. Remember when Big Boss Man stole Al Snow's dog? Remember that? And then he spent a couple weeks trying to get it back.
That's one guy that like in his career, like for him to like evolve his career from being like a cartoon cop to like being Vince McMahon's freaking like right hand man, it's crazy to see like that transformation happen. Because Big Boss Man, rest in peace to him as well. He was too young as well. He was one guy that really stood out to me in the Attitude Era.
I think he was only in his 40s when he passed away, man. It's fucking nuts. I remember the feud he had with Big Show, and Big Show's dad was like diagnosed with cancer and passed away, and fucking they had the whole segment of Boss Man showing up at his dad's funeral.
Yeah, when he drove the
hearse and the casket away, and Big Show's like holding on to it and it falls off. Such classic moments, man.
Yeah, for real. It's crazy to see like how different wrestling is from, before to now. Because with the Attitude Era, it was like just everything like fit like a puzzle piece. Everything fit, and it made such an awesome puzzle.
Everything had meaning. They didn't do stuff just for the sake of putting on a TV show,
Okay, so now with the hardcore division, all right, there's lots of friggin' wrestlers in the hardcore division. Who are some that really stand out to you that people might not be thinking about?
God, man.
I'll tell you mine. The Mean Street Posse.
Bro, the Mean Street Posse.
What were their names?
They went to Kyle Gass. Pete, Kyle. Oh wait, Kyle. Wasn't one Pete?
Pete was one of them.
Fuck, bro.
I
can't even remember.
I'm looking this up right now.
They were like Shane McMahon. They went to school with Shane McMahon, supposedly.
And then they had like the vest too, and the music. The music was so catchy.
Bro, I'm friends with one of them on Facebook.
Yeah, so
the dude that looked like one of the fucking members of NSYNC. He had like long black hair.
Here it is. So we had Joey Abs.
That's who I'm friends
Willie
with.
Green and Billy P. The Mean Street Posse.
Joey Abs. That's who his name is Joey Arndt or something like that. He actually grew up with the Hardy Boys. They trained together and everything. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I should ask him if he wants to fucking be interviewed.
I want to meet him because I would love to get friggin' all three of their signatures on this title. But who are some people that stand out to you?
I mean, we got Al Snow. We got it's gonna be hard for me to pick some Maven. Maven was the hardcore champion for a while.
Maven, I actually just got the opportunity to meet Maven at the Wrestling Classic too. Such a nice guy.
Yeah, he lives in Jersey. He works on Wall Street or something, last I knew, and he does like independent bookings on the weekend and stuff. So Maven has to be like of everybody that like people may not think of, he would have to be at the top of my list. I would I would have to, if I knew we were doing this today, I would have went back and did a little bit more research or whatever, because I didn't do I didn't watch back any footage or anything like that before we started.
Same here.
So, a lot of things from back in the day are like very blurry in my mind. Like I can remember certain segments and certain moments, but as far as like, who won what, when, and where, and how, and like a lot of that information is escaping me at the moment. So I would have to just go with Maven, somebody that people may not think of when it
In
comes to the hardcore
2002,
title.
like he was a key role with the hardcore title, definitely.
Wasn't he the last hardcore champion? Because I remember 2002, 2003 is like sort of like when it like the hardcore
Kind of
title.
fizzled out.
Yeah.
I forgot who was the last champion, but some of the people that, stand out to me with this hardcore championship, I got to go with Hardcore Holly. That's like one
Yeah.
guy I think that really benefited from the hardcore division, who, him and Crash, I love, the storyline behind their characters being cousins. And I think, Crash was such a unique friggin' guy in the division. I think like he was, the face of it.
Bro,
Definitely.
Crash Holly was the hardcore title.
Oh, also the Headbangers. Those are another two that really stood out to me because of that one time with the 24/7 title. Do you remember that? The like Eventualand, like they were like in the play skates and stuff.
So apparently it was Rob Van Dam.
RVD.
Because I googled who was the last hardcore champion, and it comes up in big bold letters, Rob Van Dam. So I don't know if that's true. If somebody else wants to do their own research, but that's what I'm getting at right now. I felt like we had to find out that kind of information because it's very key to this episode.
Definitely.
So, RVD was another guy, man.
Steve Blackman.
He was, Steve Blackman, what was he? What was a Lethal Weapon? The Lethal Weapon. He came out with fucking. No, yeah, that was when Head Cheese. Remember?
Yep, the head and
when
cheese.
Al Snow would come out with the fucking foam head and everybody wants head or something like that. Like that was his catchphrase or something. It was fucking hilarious, man. Yeah. You can't get away with that nowadays because everybody will be fucking getting canceled.
And that's what made the Attitude Era so special. You were able to really, go beyond like what, we thought like you couldn't go beyond.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Man. Crash Holly was one of those guys, man. He was the epitome of the hardcore title. Like he had some of the most memorable moments from, like I said, WrestleMania 16, that big ass battle royal or whatever, and then him getting beat up by, I want to say it was, I remember him in hardcore, like they had like a competition to see who could, be the most hardcore champion or something like that. And so like every week or every other week, Crash Holly would be sitting like at McDonald's eating or sitting at the airport or whatever. And Crash Holly would or Hardcore Holly would just come and try and pin him and beat him up. And like Crash Holly was the epitome of the hardcore title, man.
Oh my God. Everything that they did from the circus thing when, the Mean Street Posse tried taking the titles to the Headbangers going into that like amusement park trying to, beat Crash.
Didn't Mae Young or fucking Fabulous Moolah win the hardcore title at one point? They won it for like an hour.
There's another one that stands out to me. Friggin' Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe.
Yes,
the Stooges, The Stooges. Vince's Stooges. They made some awesome entertainment out of that championship.
By the way, rest in peace. Pat Patterson passed away a couple of years ago. So
one of the greatest wrestling minds out there.
All these guys that you watch growing up, and they're like the epitome of your childhood, as a wrestling fan. And now a lot of them are fizzling out, and they're not here anymore. And it's just You know, it makes you think about mortality in a weird way. Like someday, like we're all not gonna be here. You know what I mean? There's just something weird about it. I get a weird feeling.
Yeah, it's weird. It just sucks, legends that, really changed the business. Like if it wasn't for Pat, we wouldn't have Royal Rumble
First
matches.
Intercontinental champion.
Yeah. It's just insane to me that like with everything that this hardcore division did, like even got like literally Fabulous Moolah and like Mae Young, friggin' Gerald Briscoe, Pat Patterson, so much entertainment that they brought with this championship, because the hardcore title, a lot of people think was just a championship that, would have weapons, extreme and stuff. But like
I'm gonna
one thing
search
that the
this
hardcore
up.
title did was it really brought entertainment to our television screens.
Yep. I'm gonna search this up because there's probably people that we're not thinking of right now. I'm gonna search
Spike
up
Dudley.
Spike Dudley. Yep.
Spike Dudley. It's just incredible to just like with everything that this hardcore championship brought to like our childhood, and like even to this day, because of this hardcore championship and hardcore wrestling, we get these, stipulation matches, and it brings so much entertainment to the business.
Yep. Billy Gunn. We got British Bulldog. He won the title September 7th, 1999 on SmackDown in Albany, New York. Test. Remember Test?
Yep.
Taz, Viscera, Funaki, Rodney, Joey Abs, Thrasher.
The Godfather's hoe.
Really?
Yeah, one of the Godfather hoes won it.
Perry, yep, Cynthia Lynch, Perry Saturn, Matt Hardy, Gerald Briscoe, Pat Patterson,
Undertaker. Kane.
Shane McMahon,
Big Show.
Raven, Al Snow, K Quick, R-Truth.
Tommy Dreamer.
Yep.
One of his early days that
Rhino,
people forget about.
Chris Jericho, Mike Awesome, Jeff Hardy, Kurt Angle. Yeah, Undertaker won on December 9th, 2001 at Vengeance. I remember that. I think he
Mighty
beat
Molly.
I think he beat RVD. Mighty Molly Christian.
With WrestleMania, I remember those segments that they did.
Bubba Dudley won it in 2002. William
That's
Regal.
when him and Devon, they broke up.
Yeah. Steven Richards, Tommy Dreamer. Sean Stasiak. Just incredible.
Whew.
Bro, like the list just goes on and fucking on, man.
It's awesome because a lot of these guys, they were like champions for like 10, 15, 20 times.
So here's a little tidbit of information. So it is verified that RVD won the title he was the last hardcore champion. He won it on August 26, 2002 in New York City. Upon Van Dam's victory, the title was unified with the Intercontinental Championship.
They did that a lot.
So that's where the hardcore title went. It got unified with the Intercontinental Championship, which makes no fucking sense to me. But they probably wanted to get away from the hardcore stuff and focus more on in-ring stuff.
You have to realize, like in '99, it was so like it was really good, and then it got even better in 2000. Got even better in 2001, but then after 2001, the hardcore title with the 24/7 rules and stuff, it kind of went a little bit more down because they were bringing in guys like NWO and like Scott Steiner, Goldberg, all of these, former WCW guys.
Imagine Goldberg as hardcore champion. That'd be nuts.
And then the way someone pins him is because he smacked his freaking head on like the freaking locker too hard.
I know, man.
Wait, Gilbert.
I'm bro.
Greatest light heavyweight champion right there. Gilbert. Gilbert is better than Goldberg.
The light heavyweight championship does have significant meaning in the world of pro wrestling.
Yes. So now let's get into the 24/7 rule.
Okay.
This is when, Crash Holly was the champion. He was having a really good reign. And then he, decided to, start the 24/7 rule where he would defend the championship anywhere, anytime, and create so much, entertainment from it.
So many monumental moments, so many times, man. They would get a quick glimpse of him, like getting like after the show, whatever, getting into his car and fucking, trying to go to his hotel, and he would end up trying to get beat up in the parking lot. And then there'd be another guy that ended up showing up. Those two would brawl, and Crash Holly would escape with the hardcore title. Like so many instances like that, man. Like I said, he'd be eating at McDonald's, and he would try and get pinned there, and like. I think they did one
People
thing at
would
the
be
airport
sleeping
once.
and we would get new champions, which made it so entertaining. Like, you couldn't even sleep if you were the champion because, like, they really went beyond with this
Bro,
championship, and
I
that's why it
remember
made
that.
made so much sense.
I remember that. I think Crash Holly was sleeping or whatever, and he was like sleeping with the hardcore belt like right next to him. It was like all tucked in or whatever. And so I can't remember who it was, but somebody snuck in the hotel room. It might have been Steve Blackman with a referee. They tried to pin Crash Holly, and Crash Holly would like wake up. He would kick out. Steve Blackman would get caught in the fucking blanket. Crash Holly would take the title and run out of the hotel room in his fucking boxers. Like I just remember that so vividly.
It's friggin' nuts. Like, the stuff that Crash Holly did with the championship, I think it really made him, honestly like the Mount Rushmore of this hardcore championship.
I don't think he would be. I don't think he would have been as like over as he was if it wasn't for this hardcore title. Because I mean, like that put him like in a very prominent role on TV every week, and that like back in those days, man, you have to think about the roster that they had. Man, they only had fucking
You
two
had the
hours of
scratch and
TV.
claw for 2 minutes.
They only had 2 hours of TV back then. This, I'm talking about before SmackDown. Then, like mid '99, late '99, SmackDown came on, so they had 4 hours of TV. But there's so much main event caliber superstars back in the day that, like, if you were on TV, in a very prominent position, like that was like gold back in the day. You know what I mean? It's not like that anymore.
Yeah, because around the time, it's like everybody had a chip on their shoulder. And that's what made it so entertaining. Like, even AEW, like, when it comes down to it, yes, AEW has a pretty stacked roster, but nothing will ever come close to the Attitude Era. Nothing.
No, I do say that AEW does have hints, and it does
Oh,
remind me a little
yes.
bit of the
Of
Attitude Era.
course.
Just the intensity and the matches and just the classic moments that we do get. But yes, nothing will beat the Attitude Era. And like back then, man, like they had The Rock, they had Austin, they had Big Show, they had Kane, they had Undertaker, they had Stone Cold Steve Austin, they had Triple H, they had all these guys, man, and everybody was fighting for a spot on TV. And here you have this guy Crash Holly, who's in a lot of good entertaining segments. I mean, the dude was fucking over, but I don't feel like he would have been as over as he was without the hardcore division or the hardcore title.
Because the light heavyweight title would have only given him good matches. It wouldn't have really made the character stand out like it did with this division.
I
Because
feel like the hardcore title.
that's something that you do have to admit with this championship. This championship was a great way for a guy that was not getting any TV time to really stand out or tweak their character in a way.
I feel like the hardcore title brought out the personality of the character or the
And that,
personality
I
of the
think, is
performer.
really missing in today's wrestling.
Definitely, man. I
Like,
wish
at first
they
with
would
the
bring.
24/7 title, with like what they were doing with R-Truth and Drake Maverick was incredible. And then
That was awesome.
after Drake Maverick and R-Truth, it's like everything just went.
It's almost like they're creatively bankrupt. They don't know what else to do. They don't know where to go with this. I think
At first, that championship was great.
there are ways to bring back the hardcore title. but have it be less violent than it was back in like 99, 2000 or whatever.
Not
Like,
everything
you
was
can have,
violent with the hardcore title. Just
yeah, but
saying.
you can have hardcore matches without fucking somebody fucking bleeding. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to do it. And I feel like WWE needs to bring more excitement to that division instead of seeing grown adults running up and down a fucking hallway. Because
They
that's
could
all
do
it's
so
been.
much more. Utilize the space that you're in. That arena, you know for a fact, there's more than just friggin' hallways and where the show's being taken place.
Yep, exactly.
Go around like the city that you're at. Like, find some places. Do some different shit.
Make the fucking show exciting, man.
Because a 24/7 title, it could work. But the problem is that they're just not putting any effort into it whatsoever.
It just seems like it's the same shit every week, and that's why a lot of people don't like it. Jeff Hardy
Yeah,
called it an embarrassment. You know what I mean?
and
He never
I
said
don't
that.
blame him.
He never said that when it was the hardcore title.
Because around the
So
time the hardcore title, had more meaning and it wasn't just a filler. That's what the 24/7 title feels like. It feels like a filler.
that's what a lot of the titles in WWE feel like, and I hate to say it, the only titles that really mean anything are the titles that Roman has, and he's not even defending them on TV. He's fucking a part timer pretty much. So
Yeah,
who
at
knew?
SummerSlam, we get two part-timers main eventing yet again. Yay.
It's like somebody said it's like WrestleMania Part 3 because we're going to be having The Miz and Logan Paul teaming up again. It's like we're supposed to forget the fact that Miz turned on Logan Paul at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Woo!
Sounds about right.
Biggest party of the summer. This is why they had to fucking change venues.
So what about hardcore matches? I'm like not including the hardcore title. What are some hardcore matches during the Attitude Era that really stand out to you? That you could think of on the top of your head?
It wasn't for the hardcore. Does that
It
have to
doesn't
be for the
have to be for
hardcore
the
title?
hardcore title.
I would say Royal Rumble 2000 with Mankind. It was either in 2000 or 99 with Cactus Jack and Triple H.
That was 2000.
Yeah, Royal
Madison
Rumble
Square Gardens.
Bro, that match was so fucking intense, man.
I know, and I really think that because of, Cactus Jack, I think it really brought out Triple H
When you really
from being
think about it,
a
bro.
comedic role in DX to like, okay, this guy is legit.
When you
Just
really
like
think
Randy
about it,
Orton.
bro, that entire Royal Rumble was like fucking hardcore matches pretty much. Because I mean, we had the debut of Taz, who was very prominent in ECW. We had the tag team table match with the Hardys and
Oh
the
my
Dudleys,
God, that was
and
awesome.
we had the hardcore match stipulation match with it was either hardcore or no holds barred. I can't remember the tagline, but with Cactus Jack and Triple H, that was like a fucking plus the whole staging, bro. It was like this like fucking like dark red metallic kind of color or whatever, and it looked like a dark alleyway with like the color schemes and everything.
Man, the
That Royal
arenas
Rumble
back
was,
in the day, that's an episode we got to do on the talk show. We got to talk about the stages because
bro.
they're
That'll be
so
so
unique
fun.
and incredible.
That'll be so fun. And I have so much information
We're waiting
because
for Ben for that one.
I do a
Definitely.
lot. I do a lot of research, so I have a lot of information regarding why they don't do that anymore. That I would love to be able to share with everybody on the We Are Wrestling Talk Show. So that's definitely an episode that we're gonna do very soon, man. I would say within the next 2 months, that definitely has to be an episode we do because there's a lot we can talk about, and it's very prevalent to our childhoods, man.
Definitely. So some of the hardcore matches that stand out to me have got to be hardcore matches with Shane McMahon during the Attitude
Bro.
Era.
Remember Big Show and fucking Shane McMahon at Backlash? Shane McMahon, the first time he fucking jumped off of the fucking staging or whatever, did the elbow drop. Remember Test helped him? Remember that?
Yes, I remember. Here's one that really stands out to me. Blackman versus McMahon at SummerSlam. When he
Yes,
smacked him
man.
with the Kendall stick and then he fell like off the friggin' stage. That was freaking sick. Another one that this is probably one of my all-time favorite hardcore matches in WWE history. King of the Ring 2001, Kurt Angle versus Shane McMahon.
Oh my god, bro! When he was fucking like doing
Did
the
you
body to
watch? Did
body
you watch
suplex.
the? Did you watch the like behind the scenes to that? Like the like behind like the match.
I know Shane got concussions because from
Yeah,
that
Vince
match, but
McMahon wanted to go out there and stop the match. That's
yeah,
how
fucking
insane it got.
Kurt Angle was fucking doing belly to belly suplexes through the fucking the glassing or whatever from the
Oh
King of the Ring
my
staging.
god. That match was so friggin' brutal.
Like people can say whatever they want about Shane McMahon, but the thing is, dude, like you could definitely he's earned his respect and his place in the world of pro wrestling. Cause that dude, I mean, he was the boss's son, man. Like that dude was set for life. He didn't have to do half the shit he
Him
did,
or
but he did
Stephanie.
it.
I'm definitely like gotta, also give big shout out to Stephanie there because
Mhm.
both of them, yes, they could have been set for life. They could have just, not done anything. They could have lived off, their dad's money, but they really made the Attitude Era what it is today. They made WWE what it is. That's why Shane McMahon and Stephanie get the reactions they get when they come back on WWE TV.
Yeah, man, the McMahon Helmsley era, remember that?
Incredible.
Bro, I remember, man. Remember when Tess and Stephanie were supposed to get married, then it comes up on the Titantron fucking it shows Stephanie passed out in the car and Triple H takes her to a fucking wedding chapel. Remember that?
I do remember that. I actually watched that pretty recently.
I mean that there's
Hilarious.
classic shit like that. And then the woman at the chapel was like, "Hey, isn't that Stephanie McMahon? Aren't you Triple H the wrestler?" Yes, man. Yes, I am. It was just fucking hysterical, bro.
Oh, and that's the thing that made the Attitude Era awesome. Like, not only were these guys stars or badasses or good wrestlers in the ring, they had so much personality. They
Mhm.
really could electrify the millions.
Another guy that I feel very underutilized, outside of obviously DX was X-Pac. I feel like he was a very prominent figure in DX, but once, he went off on his own or whatever, remember he had that group X Factor with Justin Credible and fucking Albert.
Underrated. Too good for its time.
Yeah, they
Definitely.
didn't really push him to have his full potential. He was the 1, 2, 3 kid before he became X-Pac. Like he was just a very prominent figure in the Attitude Era, and I don't feel like they utilized him as much or as much as they could, pretty much.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But one thing definitely I say we definitely should talk about a little bit before we close off this week's
The
episode of the
the
talk
the hard
show.
the hardcore match at WrestleMania 17,
Oh
Raven,
my
Kane, and
god!
Big Show.
No bullshit. I was literally just gonna say that to you because I know how much you fucking love WrestleMania 17.
Bro, WrestleMania at 17, hands down greatest WrestleMania to ever fucking be produced. Like there was not one passable or skippable match on the entire card. Like in my opinion, like it was fucking great, dude. The video packages, the promos and everything that went into that, like just like the music that was used and the whole overall story of The Rock and Austin going into it and Mr. McMahon being involved and then you had, Shane McMahon versus
Wasn't
Vince.
that
You
the
had
first WrestleMania in like a stadium?
Yeah, it was in the Houston Astrodome, I think, in Houston, Texas, which sadly no longer exists. It got tore down a couple years ago. But bro, like we had the
That's
first.
sad.
Yeah, it was the second TLC match because the first one was at SummerSlam. Bro, like that WrestleMania, hands down, like every single match on the fucking card was phenomenal. I think that one we had William Regal versus Chris Jericho, if I remember correctly. Like it was just a
It's
great overall
incredible, and I
show.
gotta, do my research. Like, I gotta go back and watch that from start to finish. I do remember so much glimpse of that WrestleMania. It was
Bro,
incredible.
how about this? I like it might have to be two parts or not. It might have to be two parts or whatever because the show might be very long. What if we both watch it together and just film us watching it and do it'll be like a special We Are Wrestling talk show episode, rewatching WrestleMania 17. I wouldn't
Hey,
mind watching it again.
we can always do different things here on the channel.
Let us know if you guys want us to do that, man.
Let us
But we
know
had
in the comments
during that
section.
during that match, man, Raven got fucking thrown through the plexiglass window. Bro, it was
So many
fucking
moments back there. Like, in that match by itself, I feel like they went all over that friggin' stadium. They went all over the place.
Bro, it was fucking Raven. Somebody this size, pretty much.
Going against
up
Kane and Big
against
Show.
Big Show. Like, bro, that's what I'm talking about when I said, Raven was a very prominent figure back then, man. That dude was not afraid of anything.
Definitely. And anything else you want to add to this before, I, do the little surprise main event for this, week's episode?
Just that, man, like, if you guys are not, that familiar or whatever with the Attitude Era, our discussions that we talked about today, I definitely recommend you guys go on the network, go on YouTube, go on the network.
You can watch the segments all on YouTube.
Do your research, man, because like you'll understand why the Attitude Era hands down was the greatest era in professional wrestling.
Hands down. So, with the main event here, before we close off this week's episode of the talk show, I actually want to show off this hardcore championship that I have with me and, tell you guys, some of the people I've met and some of the experiences that I've had with these guys, because out of all my replica championships that I've had, this is one of them that I love bringing to the meet and greets, because meeting hundreds of wrestlers through my life, this is the one championship that really creates great conversations. And I think, what better way to tell you guys my experience than the hardcore title episode. So, let me grab this wonderful title right here. This beautiful thing. But, some of the signatures that I have on this championship that really stand out to me, which I'm going to show the pictures throughout the episode of me with that wrestler. So, on this night at Blitzkrieg Pro in 2017, I got the opportunity to meet both Al Snow and Harcourt Hawley. So I got their signatures on this championship. And for me, that was a big reason why I wanted to get this championship signed. When I saw them coming to Enfield, Connecticut, the match that I watched as a kid was, that friggin' Mississippi street fight that they had, where they went into the ocean. Or not the ocean, the lake or river, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, the Mississippi. I can't remember what it's called or what it was called at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But
another one I got signed this championship as well is no other than Mick Foley. He came to Enfield for Blitzkrieg one time, and I got this championship signed because, of course, he was the first friggin' hardcore champion. And, Mick was really happy to sign this because, he made this championship very famous and relevant. Also on this title as well, I also got, let's see here, Rob Van Dam. I got RVD to sign it, the last hardcore champion on here. And then Raven, I got Raven right there on the side there. Because, of course, 2001, that was Raven's division, in my opinion. Let's see.
What was this catchphrase? Quote the Raven nevermore or something like that?
Yes, quote the Raven. And I remember he used to come out to the cock.
Yeah. Bro, I loved his music, man.
Me too. I loved it. And then, of course, Jeff Hardy I got as well to sign this. I met him at Zombie to get that signed. And those are some of the signatures that I got on this championship. But let me know in the comment section below what other hardcore wrestlers you would like me to get this title signed. Because for me, it's a mission. I want to get as many hardcore champions on this title, signed as possible. It sucks that I can't get Crash Holly to sign it, because he definitely would be like the first person I would want to sign this belt.
It sucks you can't get Big Show to sign it. You're going to have to fucking send that shit FedEx to fucking Florida or something.
And that's something I will say I do not do when it comes to meet and greets. I know a lot of wrestlers, they do private signings and
I don't
mail stuff in. For me, if I'm spending the money, I have to have that experience one-on-one with the wrestler. I can't just, pay them friggin' $30 or $50 to sign something, and then cool, I can get that shit on eBay.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Let us know some of your favorite hardcore moments, you know, in history or whatever. And like me and Donnie said at the beginning of the episode, usually going into these, it's very authentic and very genuine. We don't really look back too much or whatever, so a lot of what we're talking about is just off our memory. So, you know, we're probably gonna more than likely miss a lot of classic moments and stuff like that.
But that's the
your
thing
job.
that makes this talk show very special, is that this is nostalgia to both of us. Like, when we do these topics every week, you know, us and even Ben, like, these are topics that we have so much passion and love towards that make these great conversations. Because yes, it would be, you know, it's cool to go back in time and watch stuff, but at the same time, talking about it, I feel like makes it more nostalgia.
Exactly,
which I think is what makes this talk show very special.
But if there's any moment, man, if there's any moment or whatever that maybe your favorite that you wish we talked about but we didn't get to, please feel free to let us know in the comment section below, because we'll
do an extra maybe.
We would love to relive the experience with you as well. So, man, that's your job in the comment section below.
Definitely. But if you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling Talk Show, where Danny and I went back and we talked about one of the best championships in the Attitude Era, the Hardcore Championship, make sure to smash that like button now. Let us know in the comment section below some of your favorite hardcore moments and some wrestlers I should probably get this title signed by. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. It really means a lot. We love this community that we have built the last few months. It's crazy because before Danny, you know, came on to the We Are Wrestling Talk Show, we were less than 100 subs, and now all of a sudden we are almost at 1,700 subs. Links down in the description below. Please go support both of our other YouTube channels and social medias. All the links are down below, especially Danny. Go check out his watch-alongs and wrestling vlogs and content over there. There's exclusive stuff. Go support him because he busts his ass here on the We Are Wrestling channel, and it would mean a lot to him. Not only him, but it would mean a lot to me and Ben. But to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, new episodes every Tuesday. And of course, you already know, we are taking over. Peace.
Get us to 1,700.